going to be an interesting Mercury retrograde. We've only got a few days up to it. And you know what's funny is my Capricorn nature usually tells me to batten down the hatches when these moments come in. And this time, everything in my soul just says go the opposite way. And in paying attention to the spiral cycles, I keep noticing like when I just let myself just do what feels right, whether or not anybody else, feels like it's right or not. It's funny because it keeps leading me to these pieces that are, it's either things that happened over the past 21 months since separation mission started, or it's things that happened before in the story of us, me and my DM and our kids and stuff. I ended up in a place where before we officially started relationship, like 15 years ago, I was trying my best to forget about him. A lot like I'm trying to do that now, but I'm trying not to do like I did before, where like everybody always says, no, you just cut everybody off and you just let everybody hit rock bottom. And I was thinking, who is it that taught us that? Who taught us that? Like, we all kind of get this way of like, if somebody doesn't do what we want, we have to punish them until they do what we want. And it just feels so gross. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else resonates with me. Anyways, I know some of you have seen what I posted about my youngest, my 10-year-old. He's with my DM. And it's funny. I realized that in doing what I was doing, like, my DM needs help. And my 10-year-old has been missing him so bad. So is our 16-year-old. But, like, 10-year-old, as a family member said, he needs an adventure. He needs kind of that rite of passage thing at his age. And I realized so does my 16-year-old. And so do I, 35. Like, I've been doing my best to do what everybody else says is the right thing to do since I was 18 and first pregnant with my oldest son. Both of my boys are my DM's boys too, biologically. And I realized, I've been going on all that long, and because I don't like to disappoint people and I don't like to disappoint myself, I just kept trying to do my best. I'm very neurodivergent, so first it was trying to do what everybody else does, all the neurotypicals do, and what everybody else says to do, and not doing good at it at all. and then learning to shape it so that I can compensate in my ways or do things my ways, and then healing the emotions of I'm succeeding, but not in a way that people say that I should be. So even though I'm succeeding, they're not happy that it's not the way that they had planned. You know what I mean? So just going through that. But I realized, in part of letting my youngest go to his, to my DMs, to his dad's, which is not a good situation. I kept telling him, this is a horrible idea, but for some reason I'm just committed to it. And I realized, there's no way for me where I sit with having to have been their sole protector, provider, all the things for so long that I can just sit back and do nothing, especially when, so many people keep saying, just stop thinking about it. Let him just fall. Let him just, do this thing and don't worry about it and he'll figure it out. And I know that they're right. However, everywhere I look, sinks and signs, which I'm not unhappy about. It's just, it makes it hard not to think about what he's going through. And I was always the rescuer. A lot of them, especially his closest family, even said stuff like, this is what he wants you to do, is to rescue him. And you got to remove your energy. And it was like, just so many, like, just hearing that for 21 months is like, But it also got me to thinking too, you know what? I decided I was going to go on a little road trip, mental health, self-care. And I was going to go north. And I offered for my 16-year-old to come with me because he didn't want to go to his dad's and he wanted to kind of have his own adventure. And I was like, okay. Like, normally, like, I feel like old versions of me, like when I started the separation mission myself, could never have, like, my DM would, always laughed about, I'd always bring 3 can openers when we'd go camping, just because, like, that's how I was, conditioned, and that's how I grew up, was you always plan for disaster. And this time it's just like everything in my spirit just says, no. Like, and that's a lesson that I learned that I've been meaning to do a video about too, is like, you don't need to plan for everything all the time. You don't need to be prepared with all the right words to say. You don't have to plan in your head what you're going to tell people, especially if you just tell the truth. That's what I've been doing. I've been telling everybody the truth. And some people think, yeah, that's really makes sense. And other people are like, that's crazy. And I'm just going with, you know what, if it feels like my truth, I need to at least explore that. I want to explore that. I even told my DM when this stuff went on, I don't think he believed me. It was like, I want my turn to be self-centered for a while. You know, I put everybody else first. Even everybody says, your problem is you love too much. Like, I don't think that's a problem. I think that they're right, though. I need to give myself more love first. And it brings me right back to where I was when I first got, it was actually on my Facebook, which I pulled the apps off for this. Like, I decided I was going to go east instead of north from where I started, and just see where that could carry me. And then I can do DoorDash in a lot of places, but I was also doing that in the beginning. It was funny to see that and just stop for a minute and go, oh my goodness, like I'm in that backwards forwards right there, right? So what I did was, in the beginning, I was like, I need to get things together on my end. I don't want to over focus on my DM. I want to do like everybody says. So I'm going to focus on my kids, my family, and my work. And I put out on Facebook, you know what, I'm doing a tarot and astrology video, and I want to lead that into spiritual coaching. It's something I've been prepping for and researching for over 10 years and doing all this and getting all this experience. And I was just like, I'm going to do this because I keep trying to do it the way everybody else says and it's not working. Funny thing was, that worked really, really well for quite a while. I mean, it became like half of my income for a good, decent point. And then I'm not sure what happened. Like, things kind of cut out. So I kept working on my YouTube. Now, the funny thing is, I meant to keep doing readings, and I will still do them, but most of what I feel called to put out is other kinds of content. I mean, if you come on and watch this, you've probably seen my other content, right? And I love that, like, I can do Google AdSense on there, but Google AdSense has been kind of shorting people a lot in terms of that. And it does require a lot of work to get all the tags in and do everything. I mean, I know some of you probably seen my social media videos, and it's very slow. And I've been meaning to, like, I've been catching up on some of the free readings, but how do I even put it? Spirit says just ask, and I'm all weird about asking about it. And it's just like when I first put up, like, originally I had done, like, you know what Spirit told me in the beginning was, it was like, just ask people to support you and see what happens. And I still have a challenge with that. Like, it's saying right now, just ask all of you, like, all of you who like my content, who like the readings, who do it, will you please donate to my PayPal? I'll put it in the description box, polyventurous@gmail.com, or I did a Cash App. I think it's WickedlyDivineFem, but I'll put it in the description box. Like, you know, if you like what I do and you see what I do, and right now what Spirit's saying is lean into what your heart wants. Like, if I have wishes for me, like, that aren't about my DM or my kids or my family or anything, like, what do I want for me? Especially because, like, I don't know how long I have with my parents around, and they're my only safety net. They've been there that way forever, and I feel like I already miss them, you know? And especially if my DM doesn't get his end together and things like that, it's gonna be just me for the most part. I don't feel like bunch of people are gonna abandon me. It's just, I guess morally, I don't feel right about expecting that there will be anyone there for me to do it. And the way that I feel like the rest of the world kind of is and expresses things is that you're kind of on your own when you don't have that. And I want to feel like I can do that, especially because once I know that I can do that, I know that the way manifestation works is when I no longer need that, it's there, you know, it'll all be around there. And Twintuitive 717, when you see this, I want to give you a big shout out, because that was something, you know, when you first donated to me in the beginning by surprise, that was something that, like, I had put out and into the universe, like, okay, Spirit, I'm gonna try this, your way, going by intuition rather than all logic and stuff. And you showed me that at least a couple people think I'm worth it, you know. In any case, I do still feel nervous, and I know I haven't fully caught up with all y'all in the free readings, but I'm going to trust Spirit and just go for this and say, if you can donate just something, please go for it. If you'd like maybe like a $10 reading for $30, it can be. I want to kind of make it a reading slash lightworker session. And for those of you that have had my readings and sessions, please feel free to do a shout out. It's so funny. I feel like what I want to do is ask for all the energy that I put out to others to be returned in this moment. And you know what? It feels selfish, but you know what? I'm going to do it. Thank you, Spirit, for helping bring in a beautiful return on all the good I know I have put out. And the fun, and the adventure, and the light work, and the love, the music, just all of it. I have this vision in my head that I've wanted to do for like the last 6 months. Ain't that funny? It was where it's like just go out and just ask Spirit where my light is needed or wanted in that moment, and just do it. And it would be so great to be able to be supported to do that just for a minute, because what's funny, what everybody's been telling me that I should do is work on my writing too, like those that know me before, especially my DM. And I have this, like, I've been seeing all these funny signs. Like, one of the first signs I saw when I just picked a direction and went was Memory Lane Road. I took a picture of it. I'll put it up later. And I was like, that's very true. And I noticed that I'm going, it's kind of a spiritual journey of sorts. Like, I've ended up in places I didn't think I would end up in, that were places that I was in right before my DM and I started our official relationship, when I just had, our oldest son was almost 2. And I guess I did this before in a weird way. I just went on a whim, got a friend to help me get us an apartment, because he had a long, big story, and he was pretty much abandoned by everybody, but he could be a big jerk, so I get it. I didn't at the time, but I get it now. He's got his own ways, and I get it. But I also feel like there's something that needs to be healed among the whole collective about this whole, if people aren't being responsible in the ways that we think they should be, or responding in the ways we think they should be to fit some expectation, that we just cut them off, just cold balls it, because it just feels like it continues the whole hurt people thing. But anyways, a couple of the book / blog ideas that came into my mind is, like, one would be a series of fortunate signs. There was 2 times in this spiral cycle journey. One was a series of misfortunate events. The next was a series of fortunate events, and then a series of fortunate decisions. And now it's a series of fortunate signs. And I'll share some of them later, or maybe I'll do a blog. I don't know. Would y'all donate to support me doing videos about the signs, or a blog about the signs? I don't know. I'm open to ideas. At this point, I don't have a whole ton of money left, and DoorDash, I can do enough DoorDash to get by. But I don't know. I don't even want luxury. I have barely anything with me. I just grabbed some peanut butter and jelly. I had somebody that stole all of my credit and debit cards and my EBT card like a few weeks ago, and I think it was someone who intentionally wanted to sabotage me. So I really am flying by the seat of my pants at this moment. And just, one of the reasons I think that it needed to happen is because, even though I've healed a whole ton on having faith in the people in family back home, I realized that part of my anxiety is that, especially when it comes to my boys, I don't trust anybody enough to catch them if I'm not there, if I need to go kind of prune my branches, I suppose. Like, a family member that I love said to me recently, like, if you're the tree that your boys need, if you get cut down, what do they got? And it's like, you're right, you're absolutely right. And I don't know, will you help? Will you, some adventure? I'm willing to do other things too. I don't even know what, I'm just throwing this out there. So I love y'all. If any of y'all want to help, can help, have ideas, if you just want to pray for all of this to work out in some really pleasantly surprising way, that's enough for me too. I love all of you just being here and getting anything out of any of the weird, eccentric stuff that comes out of my mouth and my heart. So I love y'all, and I'm going to go do some more door dashing so that I don't have to call anybody to rescue me. All right, I love y'all. I'll see you in the next video.